Have you ever had one of those mornings, you know the kind,
Oh, yeah.
you wake up, maybe you've read a motivational quote or something, and you decide, okay, this is it. Today, I'm going to be the most patient parent.
Hmm.
I'm going to be the most understanding spouse,
Hmm.
the kindest, most focused employee. I mean, you have the plan. You have the desire. You are ready to crush it.
It's that classic new day, new me energy. It feels great
Totally.
until about 8:30 a.m.
Exactly.
Yeah.
8:30 rolls around, you get cut off in traffic, the coffee spills on your shirt, or, you get that one passive-aggressive
The
email.
one that just hits a nerve.
It does, and suddenly that Saint of the Year award just goes flying right out the window. You snap, you get anxious, or you just kind of shut down completely.
I mean, it's the universal human experience, isn't it? It's that huge, frustrating gap between the person we really want to be,
Yeah.
the person we intend to be, and the person who actually shows up when the pressure's on.
And honestly, trying to bridge that gap with just willpower feels like you're pushing a boulder up a hill. It's just exhausting.
It is.
I think a lot of us feel like living a good life is just this constant uphill battle, and that is exactly why I'm so pumped about this month's topic. We're spending the entire month of February looking at the fruit of the Spirit. But before you tune out thinking this is just some Sunday school lesson you heard when you were 6, hang on.
Right.
Because the material we're covering isn't just about memorizing a list of nice virtues.
Yeah, that's right. We're not just here to, give you a checklist of be nicer.
Yeah.
If we look at the texts for this month, Galatians 5, John 15, Colossians 3, the mission is way bigger.
Much bigger.
It's not behavior modification, it's actual transformation. We're looking at how to partner with the Holy Spirit to develop character that actually looks like Jesus.
Moving from trying harder to actually changing from the inside out.
Exactly.
Which sounds infinitely better than just white-knuckling it through the week. So, for this month's topic, we have a stack of incredible material.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at abiding in the vine, clothing yourself with humility, all of that. But for today, for this conversation, we're zooming in on one of the most practical passages in the entire Bible on this. We're unpacking Galatians chapter 5, verses 16 through 26. This is kind of the heavyweight title fight, the flesh versus the spirit.
It really is the core conflict, isn't it?
Yeah.
And what I appreciate about this text is that Paul, the writer, he doesn't sugarcoat reality at all.
Sure.
He doesn't say, oh, once you decide to follow Jesus, everything's easy, your temper vanishes, and you'll just automatically be a delight to be around. He describes a war zone.
So let's get right into the trenches then. Galatians 5:16 and 17. Paul sets the stage by describing these two opposing forces living inside a believer. You've got the flesh and the spirit.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to pause here for a second because the words really matter, don't they? When he says flesh, he's not just talking about our physical bodies, is he? Like having skin and bones isn't the sin.
Oh, absolutely not. That is a really common misconception. The Bible views the body as a temple. It's good.
Okay.
In this context, the flesh, or sarx in the Greek, it refers to that fallen, sinful nature. It's that internal gravity, that inclination toward selfishness and ego and pride. It's the part of us that wants to sit on the throne of our own little universe.
The part of me that wants what I want exactly when I want it.
Exactly. And Paul's thesis here is that this flesh is actively hostile to the spirit. I mean, they're not just roommates ignoring each other.
Yeah.
You're enemies. Paul says the flesh desires what is contrary to the spirit, and the spirit desires what is contrary to the flesh. They're in constant conflict.
And that explains that internal tension I feel. It's not just that I'm tired or hangry. It's an active conflict. But there's a line in the text that I found, really challenging. Paul writes, so that you are not to do whatever you want. To a modern ear, that sounds incredibly restrictive. It almost sounds like, you lose your free will.
Well, it does sound that way, right? If you view freedom as just doing whatever impulse pops into my head. But if you think about it a little deeper,
Okay.
if your flesh, your broken nature, your temper, your addiction, if that's driving the car, are you really free? Or are you just a slave to your own appetites?
That's a fair point. If I can't stop myself from yelling at my kids, I'm not exactly free.
No.
I'm being controlled by the anger.
Right. So Paul is saying because of this war, we can't just coast. We can't just do whatever comes naturally, because what comes naturally to our broken nature is often destructive. But here is the major insight from this passage, and it's so vital we get this. The solution isn't willpower.
Okay, wait. Say that again for everyone in the back, because I think most of us assume the solution is just try harder.
Willpower is not enough. Paul says Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Notice the order of operations there?
Yeah.
That is everything.
It seems backward. Usually I think, okay, I need to stop sinning, I need to stop being jealous, and then I'll be walking in the Spirit.
Exactly. We try to clean up the house before we invite the guest in.
Yeah.
Paul flips it entirely. He says, focus on walking by the Spirit. Focus on the connection, the relationship, and the result, the inevitable byproduct, is that you won't gratify the flesh.
Oh.
It's about leaning on a power outside of yourself.
That's a total paradigm shift. It suggests that the way to stop the bad stuff isn't to fixate on the bad stuff, but to fixate on the Spirit.
It's the difference between trying to push a car uphill yourself versus jumping inside and turning on the engine.
Right.
One leads to burnout and frustration, the other leads to actual movement.
Okay, so if we're turning on the engine or walking by the Spirit, we need to know what the output looks like, because Paul gives us some very specific lists here. He contrasts the works of the flesh with the fruit of the Spirit.
Yeah.
And looking at that works of the flesh list, I mean, it is intense.
It is a sobering list.
He mentions things like sexual immorality, idolatry, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, envy. It's a mix of what we might call church sins and then just being a terrible friend.
It's just this comprehensive list of human dysfunction. But look at the common thread. Apart from the first few, the vast majority, hatred, discord, jealousy, rage, selfish ambition, these are all relationship killers.
They destroy community.
Precisely.
Right.
The flesh isolates us. It turns other people into obstacles or competitors. Selfish ambition sees people as ladders to climb. Envy sees them as threats.
Right.
The works of the flesh ultimately result in a lonely, fractured life. They pull us away from freedom and into bondage.
Which sets up the contrast perfectly. We get the alternative, the famous list that hangs on, every nursery wall. The fruit of the Spirit. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. I feel like I need to tattoo patience on my forehead some days.
It's a beautiful description of the character of Jesus. But here's something that gets really, really interesting. And it's a detail I think a lot of people miss.
Oh.
In the Greek, the word fruit is singular. It's not fruits of the Spirit.
Wait, for real? So it's not like, it's not a buffet where I can say, I'll take a large helping of joy, but I'm going to pass on the patience today. Thanks.
Yeah, I think we'd all like to skip the patience side dish sometimes. But no, you can't pick and choose. Because it's singular, Paul is implying that this is one interconnected package.
Yeah.
It's a single fruit with 9 flavors, if you will, or like a cluster of grapes. It all comes from the same branch.
So practically then, this serves as a kind of diagnostic tool. If I think I'm spiritual because I'm joyful at church, but I'm lacking self-control on the internet, I'm kind of fooling myself.
Exactly. True spiritual growth is holistic. You can't claim to be full of the Spirit's peace while you're screaming at your neighbor. The Spirit produces a holistic transformation. It's the natural byproduct of connection, not of striving.
And that just goes right back to that John 15 concept we're looking at this month, the vine.
Precisely.
An apple tree doesn't grunt and strain to produce apples. It produces apples because it's healthy and connected to the roots.
That's it. We produce this fruit by abiding, by staying connected to the source.
Okay, so we know the what. We want this fruit. We know the why because the flesh is destructive. Now we have to get to the how, the mechanism. Paul uses this specific phrase, keep in step with the Spirit.
Yeah, this is one of my absolute favorite images in the New Testament. The Greek word here, it has military connotations. It's the idea of marching in line or walking in formation.
So it's active. It's not just sitting on a couch waiting for a holiness sap.
Correct. It's very active. To keep in step implies attention. If you're marching in a band, you have to match their pace. It implies the Spirit is setting the pace, and our job is to match it. And there are 2 ways to mess that up. You can run ahead, or you can lag behind.
Okay, let's break those down. What does running ahead of the Spirit look like in our daily lives?
Running ahead usually looks like anxiety, impatience, or control. It's when you feel God isn't moving fast enough in your career, so you manipulate a situation to force a door open.
Yeah.
It's trying to do God's will, but in your own timing and your own power.
Oof. Yeah, I am. I am so guilty of that. God, you're moving too slow. Let me just fix this for you.
We all are. But it also means not lagging behind. And that usually looks like disobedience or fear or hesitation.
How so?
The Spirit nudges you to apologize to your spouse, but you delay because of pride. Or the Spirit prompts you to be generous, but you hesitate because of financial fear. You've fallen out of step.
Yeah. So keeping in step is a relational dynamic. It's listening and obeying moment by moment.
Yes, some days that walk is easy. It's a sunny day, the path is clear. Other days, it's a battle.
Hmm.
The terrain is rough, you're tired, and your flesh is screaming to go the other way.
Yeah.
But keeping in step involves a daily, sometimes hourly decision to just yield.
And that yielding is where the transformation happens. It's almost like building muscle memory. The more you do it, the more natural it becomes.
Exactly. When we surrender to this leading, anxiety gets replaced by peace. Hate gets replaced by love. This is how the character of God grows in us. It's not magic. It's the result of a relationship.
I love that. It makes it feel doable because I don't have to figure out the whole map. I just have to take the next step.
Right.
But Paul also uses some pretty intense language about our past. He talks about crucifying the flesh. That sounds really painful.
It is intense language, but it's also incredibly liberating.
Mm-hmm.
Paul writes that those who belong to Christ have crucified the flesh. Past tense.
Okay, so help us navigate this. If it's already done, if it's past tense, why do I still struggle so much with my temper? Why is the battle still happening?
Well, that gets at a really important theological paradox. The truth is that Jesus took the power of sin with him on the cross. The prison door has been unlocked.
Oh.
The old you has no legal authority over you anymore. But we still have to choose to walk out of the cell. The old nature, the flesh, is like a deposed dictator who refuses to leave the palace. He's shouting orders, making threats, trying to scare you into submission.
But he has no actual power.
He has no authority unless you choose to listen to him. Crucifying the flesh means we stop listening to those old orders. We live in the truth of what Jesus did.
We stop feeding the monsters.
Exactly. We start trying to resuscitate the old way of life.
All right, so let's make this really practical. For everyone listening, what's something they can do like today to start this transformation? How do we apply this?
Well, looking at the whole message for this month, I think there are a few key steps. First, it starts with intentional time. You can't keep in step with someone you never talk to. Start the day asking the Holy Spirit to guide you. It can be simple. Holy Spirit, show me who to help today. Show me how to react.
I like that. It sets the tone before the chaos starts. It aligns you.
Second is decision-making, and specifically using the power of the pause. Before you send that text, before you make that purchase, before you respond to that criticism, take a literal pause. Pray and listen. Ask, is this the flesh reacting, or is this the spirit leading? That pause is powerful. It breaks the autopilot mode.
It really does.
Third, and this is crucial, immediate confession.
Ooh, tell me more about that. We usually avoid confession because it feels heavy.
But when a work of the flesh creeps in, because it will, like impatience or a burst of anger, don't just brush it off. And don't let it fester.
Right.
Confess it immediately to God. Lord, that was impatience. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And if you need to, confess it to the person you offended. This keeps the connection clear. It resets your step.
That's so good. It keeps the account short. You're not carrying baggage.
And finally, I would suggest a focus point. Don't try to fix everything at once. Choose one trait from the fruit of the Spirit list.
Yeah.
Maybe it's gentleness, maybe self-control. And just focus on that for this week. Ask the Spirit to grow that specific area in you.
And I'd add one more that really stood out to me. Environment. Surround yourself with godly influences.
Oh, absolutely.
If you're hanging out with people who are constantly feeding the flesh, gossiping, complaining, encouraging bad habits, it's going to be really hard to hear the Spirit.
Absolutely. We need a community that encourages this walk.
You know, this has been such a refreshing look at Galatians. I think the biggest takeaway for me is that freedom isn't just about not doing bad things. It's about being free to become who God actually created us to be.
That is it.
Yeah.
Exactly. We aren't called to do this in our own strength. God didn't just give us a rule book. He gave us himself. He gave us his Spirit to make this life possible.
So here's a thought to leave you with, and it's a bit of a challenge. If we have already crucified the flesh with its passions, like Paul says, why do we keep trying to resuscitate it? Why do we keep going back to the things that make us miserable?
The power to walk in freedom is already yours. You just have to step into it.
We want to encourage you to take that step today. Deepen that relationship with Jesus. Don't just learn about him. Talk to him. Listen to him. And watch how your life and the lives of the people around you changes as you start to bear this fruit.
Let's grow together.
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.